Hi there, my name is Marley and I hope you guys are doing well. Today I'm going to be discussing my April TBR. If you don't know, a TBR is to be read, so I'm going to go through the 8 books that I plan on getting to in April. Hopefully, it's gonna be a busy month for me, but typically I read about 7 or 8 books a month. So these are the ones I'm hoping to read. First off, I'm going to be doing a themed reading vlog, which I tend to do every month. I'm not going to share what the theme is. You're gonna have to just subscribe and wait and find out. But here are the books I plan on reading for it. First up is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Don't know if you guys have heard of this book. Obviously, this is a very popular book and movie franchise, The Lord of the Rings. I have owned these books for many years. I planned on reading them before I saw the movies. Have not read them, have not seen the movie still. This is, I think, technically the first book, but it is more of like a children's book, and then the rest of the series is more serious as far as I know. Really don't know much about this world. Obviously, I know that there are these things called hobbits, which are kind of like dwarves or elves. Maybe let's read the back. Bilbo Baggins is a hobbit who enjoys a comfortable, unambitious life, rarely traveling further than the pantry of his hobbit hole in Bag End. But his contentment is disturbed when the wizard Gandalf and a company of 13 dwarves arrive on his doorstep one day to whisk him away on a journey there and back again. They have a plot to raid the treasure hoard of Smaug the Magnificent, a large and very dangerous dragon. I'm looking forward to finally understanding this world because I literally don't know anything about it. So yeah. Then I would also like to read Warcross by Marie Lu. This is a YA sort of like sci-fi book. I just read the description now. Essentially it's about this young girl and she lives in a world where there is this video game, like virtual world called Warcross. I think it's very similar to Ready Player One, which I never read, but I did watch the movie. And there's some sort of competition in this game and she ends up getting wrapped up in it. And I think she's actually like a spy for the creator in this virtual competition, video game, whatever. This is like one of those like random YA series that I used to see people read. People don't really talk about it anymore, but it's definitely something I'm interested in reading as I've heard quite a bit about Marie Lu. Then the final book for that vlog is going to be Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Kind of random. I don't really read many classics and I don't think I've ever read a Jane Austen book completely. I have a memory of reading some of Pride and Prejudice, but I just feel like I never finished it when I was younger. Yeah, not really my vibe to read classics, but as I said, it's for a video. I mean, I am interested in reading some Jane Austen. Like, she's such an iconic author, so we'll see if I can get into it, although I am a little afraid. It sounds like Sense and Sensibility is about these two sisters, which I think is common in Jane Austen books. They're obviously living in like old England or whatever, and I think it just deals with their lives and like their love life and them just figuring out life. Then I would like to read Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. This is a pretty thick one, but normally these books are pretty quick for me to get through. This is the 3rd book in the Ember and the Ashes series. I started this series last year and I've been making my way through. I really enjoy these books every time. It is another YA dystopian / fantasy series that I don't even know how to describe because it really does change so much with each book. But at the beginning, we're following the main character, Laya, and she is like the lower class in this society and her brother gets kidnapped by like the typical evil people, and so she ends up going undercover with this rebel group to try and like infiltrate the army or like the higher ups in the society, and then they are going to help her save her brother. And then we are also seeing a point of view from Elias, who is a soldier in this government, but he doesn't want to be, basically, and they end up teaming up. Very much like Game of Thrones vibes, very much that typical YA dystopian series, but I really enjoy it. It's really fast-paced. It always has a lot of twists and turns, and there's some romance in it and all that good stuff. So, oh, I just knocked the camera. Then we have an exciting one. I actually received an ARC for Megan Golden's new book, Stay Awake. I think I've seen a couple other people reading the ARC right now. I really enjoyed her previous release called Night Swim. I read that back in 2020, and I think I rated it fairly high. I really liked it. It is a thriller. I guess she's a thriller author. This is her newer release. It's coming out in August, so I'm getting to read it quite a few months early. So again, stay tuned, subscribe so you can see what I think. But this one sounds really, really cool. It's about this girl who wakes up and she has forgotten the last 2 years of her life. So it's kind of like a amnesia story, right? But she, I think, is covered in blood or something like that, and she looks at her hands, and written on her hands is "stay awake." And she doesn't know why, like, why does she need to stay awake? She sees that there was some crime done that night where, again, the message was written there as well, "stay awake," like in blood. And so she's like, did I commit that crime? Like, how am I involved? And like, why does she have that memory loss? So in the description it said it was kind of like movies like Memento, which I love. I just love a mystery like that, and very, very excited for this one. Then for another fantasy series, I think I'm going to start a new one, and I'm going to read Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angeles. This is one I've just been dying to get to. I know I hauled it a while ago, but basically it is about a competition between magicians. So very similar to, I guess, Night Circus, kind of similar to one of my favorite movies called The Prestige, but I've heard it has like Phantom of the Opera vibes, Moulin Rouge vibes, which I've not seen, but I am seeing the play soon. I'm just really, really excited for this one, and I have the sequel ready on standby. But yeah, excited to start a new fantasy series, even though I have many I need to finish. Then I have the book that I chose for Books and Lala's Buzzwordathon, where each month there is a theme, and then you pick a book based on the theme. And this month, the theme is to read a book with little or big in the title, or some sort of word similar to big, like having to do with size, basically. So I decided to choose A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahira Mafe. She is a very popular YA author predominantly, and I have not picked up one of her books yet. So I thought this one would be perfect. It's just like a quick little YA contemporary book, but it takes place in 2002, shortly after 9/11, and we're following a young Muslim girl and essentially how her life was changed after the events of 9/11, the like bullying and racial prejudice that she experiences as a Muslim girl who wears a hijab. I think it deals with breakdancing, the synopsis says, and I think there's going to be like a little love interest, as there always is in YA. So I think this one will be really moving, and I think it's definitely based on the author's like real life experiences as well. And then for my last book, as always, it's going to be my book club book that I have with my friends. Unfortunately, we have not had our meeting yet, so once again, I don't know exactly what book we're going to be reading, but I do know the book that I'm going to suggest, and we'll see if everyone agrees with me or if they have other suggestions. But the one I'm going to suggest is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. This is one of my most highly anticipated books, definitely a 5-star prediction. I've seen a lot of my favorite booktubers mention it and mention it as a favorite. It is a thriller, as you could probably tell. It is about this group of friends from college. Back when they were in college, one of their friends was murdered, and I don't think it was ever resolved. I don't think they ever caught the killer, and now it is 10 years later, and all of the friends are getting back together for the college reunion. So the mystery comes up again of like who did this. It's obviously going to probably be one of those friends. Everyone has their secrets and probably a bunch of different relationship dynamics between the friend group. Very, very excited to read this. It's like my perfect thriller. A group of friends and you have to guess who the killer is. Like, say less, honestly. I'm so excited. I really hope my book club wants to read it. If not, then this will wait and I'll read it later, but hopefully soon. So these are the books I'm planning on reading in the month of April. Let me know if you have any thoughts on these books, or let me know what you guys are gonna read in April. As I've mentioned, please subscribe if you have not already, and follow me on social media as well to keep up with what I'm reading throughout the month, like on Goodreads and Storygraph. And I will see you guys in my next video, which should be my March wrap up. Bye.